has worked on billions of dollars worth of design and construction projects. Some of these projects include the Pentagon renovation and the Center for the Intrepid and Impromptu Rehabilitation Center at Brooks Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. Heath has worked on projects all over the world, and he has conducted training for management projects on 5 continents and in 2 languages. Today, Heath is going to help us to learn how to use our attitudes to bring about changes in our clubs and in our lives. Please help me welcome past International Director, distinguished Toastmaster, Heath Suddleson.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I don't know if bad to the bone is a good thing or a bad thing, but I love George Thorogood. Let me ask you a question. Raise your hand if you have an attitude problem. Isn't it funny how often we sit there and think, well, I don't have an attitude problem. But if none of us have attitude problems, why do we deal with so many people that have attitude problems? And it's a simple thing. It all has to do with your perspective. Now, I learned this the hard way, as I do many of my lessons. I learned this because I thought I knew everything about leadership. I thought, coming out of the United States Marine Corps and learning about leadership in that environment, that I knew everything I needed to know, and all I needed to do was bark orders, and people would follow them with perfect military precision. Didn't happen. Now, why is that? Why doesn't it happen? Well, it doesn't happen because there's something that the military does that no one else does. And that is a simple concept. It's not just a volunteer organization, because that is part of it. It's people that want that structure. It's people that want that mentality. But the other piece of it is it's the training. When you're in the military, you start out with some type of a basic training, some type of a Class A school. You go through so much training that you can do it by the numbers before you ever show up for the first day of work. No one else does that. That's why bark and follow, or as I call it, command and control, doesn't work outside of the military all that well. What does work is another concept, which is you give someone a job to do, you give them some clear responsibilities, and you give them recognition for a job well done. It's responsibility and recognition. And a key thing of that attitude is this: you need your team way more than they need you. Let me say that again. You need your team way more than they need you. Now, I've met people that say, yes, but I'm the head honcho. I'm the one with all the historical information right here in my head. And you know what? I can replace any one of these people and have someone in that seat a week later doing that job, and probably even for less money. And I say to them, yes, you can. And yes, you can, until they find out they're working for you, and then they're going to be gone as well. Think about trying to do your job, everything in your organization, by yourself. You can't do it. And even if you think you can't do it effectively. You need your team. So starting out with an attitude of gratitude and understanding how much you need your team is the first big piece to getting your team to perform more efficiently and to make your team want to be there. Because in a volunteer organization like Toastmasters, it's not like the military. The military, you can't leave a bad leader. You're pretty much stuck till one of you gets rotated out. In the corporate world, people will leave when they value themselves more than they value the paycheck. And in a volunteer organization, people will leave really fast. Because they think, I don't have to stay here and be treated like this. I can go home and be treated like this. Now, Zig Ziglar once said, your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. The way I say it is that your attitude is the most important tool in your toolbox. It costs you nothing to purchase. If you use it well, it will gain you everything. If you use it poorly, it can cost you everything. But how you use it is entirely up to you. So your attitude really is the most important tool in your toolbox. And how do we use our attitudes? We use our attitudes in ways we don't even recognize. Now, in my introduction, you heard that I joined Toastmasters as a charter member of a charter club, and I was the vice president of education. And I had every plan of being the president the next year, because I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I may as well just do it. But I really didn't want to do that much. And so when they came to me and they wanted me to be the area governor, I was like, wow, thank you for that wonderful opportunity, and no. Not going to do it. And they kept on me, finally, I acquiesced. Okay, I'll do it. And I did it. And you know what? It was a great experience. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of really cool people, and I learned a lot. So the next year, when they wanted me to be division governor, I said, not a chance. And they kept on me, and finally I agreed, and I acquiesced, and I did it. And you know what? It was a great experience. I had a lot of fun, I met a lot of great people, and I learned a lot. And then they wanted me to be lieutenant governor of marketing. And this time, I put my foot down. No, not going to happen. There is no way. And people kept saying, why not? I said, well, you know what? I've got a lot going on in my life. I was getting remarried. I now had an 8-year-old stepson. There was a lot going on. And people were walking up to me going, oh, I hear you're running for lieutenant governor of marketing. You heard wrong, dude. No, not me. People started coming up to me at my wedding. You know you've been in Toastmasters a while when a lot of your wedding guests are Toastmasters. People were coming up to me at my wedding saying, I hear you're running for lieutenant governor of marketing. No, you heard wrong. And one of them finally said this in front of my now wife, and she said, well, why not? Well, let me tell you, it's a huge time commitment. Look, let me be honest with you. They give you these really cool pins as a district leader. They should be district leader wedding rings. Because you're going to feel like you're married to Toastmasters for 3 years. It's a marriage I highly recommend, by the way. But you will, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is a huge time commitment. And I told her, it's a huge time commitment, and I've got you, I've got our son, and I want to spend time with you. And she said, well, if it weren't for us, would you do it? Woman, you just took away my best objection. So I thought about it, and I said, you know what, if it weren't for that, I probably would. And she said, well, then you do it, and we'll support you. She's regretted that decision ever since. So I ran for lieutenant governor of marketing. I won. I was unopposed. It wasn't hard. And then the next year, I was running for lieutenant governor of education and training. Now, when I made the decision to run for lieutenant governor of marketing, I made the commitment to myself that I was going to go all the way through. But when I went to go meet with the nominating committee, I was nervous. I was really nervous going to meet with this committee. Now, let me explain to you, I'd met with this committee twice before. I wasn't nervous then. I'm running unopposed. Why am I nervous? And it hit me. For the first time in my Toastmasters leadership journey, I was looking forward to the opportunities to serve instead of being the reluctant leader. For the first time in my Toastmasters leadership journey, I would have been devastated if they had said, no, we're not forwarding you as a candidate. Because the first 2 times, they would have done me a favor. For the first time, I cared. That was huge for me. Because when I realized that, when I stopped being the reluctant leader, when I started embracing those opportunities to lead, when I started embracing those opportunities to serve, the rate at which I had fun, the rate at which I learned was exponentially higher than what it had been in all the previous roles. So when you're thinking about your Toastmasters journey, where's your attitude? Are you the reluctant leader? Or are you embracing the opportunities to serve and go and do more? Are you using your attitude to take what you're learning in Toastmasters and apply it to your real life job? And are you taking your real life job and applying it back into Toastmasters? Because with me, I learned things in Toastmasters that I then carried forward to my real life job. And I started getting promotions. I started getting pay raises. That was nice. I started getting jobs that without Toastmasters, I wouldn't have been qualified for. And sometimes the journey takes you in unexpected places. Like it took me to Malaysia. As a past international director, being one of the sponsors for the first ever Toastmasters International Conference held outside of North America. Now, I don't know how many of you in this room follow me on Facebook. I know some of you do, and if you don't, you're welcome to. But some of you saw my postings because the airlines had lost my luggage on the way to Malaysia for 4 days. So for the opening of the conference, I had to go buy a suit because all of my dress clothes were in my luggage. Now, when you're 6 foot tall and over 200 pounds, shopping in Asia sucks. Because they are short and skinny, and I am neither. And I'm going store to store, just looking at them like a sad lost puppy. Do you have anything that will fit me? No, you too big. Why you so big? You go next door. So I'd go to the next door. Do you have anything that will fit me? Maybe. You come. So I go to the back of the store. I finally found a store that had a suit and a tie. I finally found another store that had a shirt and a belt. And I was at least able to get an ensemble together that I could wear to the convention. And the whole time I'm posting on Facebook, you know, okay, here's pictures of the mall, and here's pictures of me trying to buy a suit, and here's the short, skinny people that these suits actually fit. So when I showed up at the convention, people went, wow, you actually look really nice. I'm like, well, I wasn't shopping secondhand stores. You know, the cheapest store in the mall was like Ferragamo. It was all designer stuff, and in fact, the suit and tie and shirt that I bought and belt is what I'm wearing right now. So you have these opportunities that things take you in places you never thought you'd go. I never thought, even when I was an international director, that I would become a professional speaker. In fact, when I was an international director, and after one of my presentations, someone came up and said, wow, you know, if you had a book, that would be fantastic. I thought, well, thank you for the compliment, but I'm not so sure there's a book in my future. Silly me, I now have a book out. Life will take you in amazing places if you let it. Life will take you in amazing places if you have the attitude to let it and to embrace the opportunities instead of running away from the opportunities. And we can change our attitudes. Our attitudes can be changed. Now, it's not easy. It takes a little bit of time. Think of your mind like a river. Now, when you're thinking about a river, what is a river? A river is water that's followed the path of least resistance for so long that it's carved a riverbed through dirt and through rock to become the course of that river. Can you change the course of a river? Sure. You can build a dam. Now, how do we build dams? With steel and concrete and all this heavy equipment. How do beavers build dams? One stick at a time. And sometimes they put that stick out there and it gets washed away. You don't see beavers going, oh, I'm so upset my stick got washed away. You don't see beavers going on these television shows like, you know, Jerry Springer talking about how someone washed their stick away. Beavers just put another stick out there. And they put another stick out there. Until eventually, those sticks are staying and they're getting a good foundation and they're changing the river. So you can change your river one stick at a time. Now, I have things, when we go outside, I have a product table at the end. First, there's lots of free resources out there for you guys, especially as Toastmasters. I put some really critical resources out there. You can also sign up for my mailing list, and I will email you a bunch of free resources. I also have some product out there, so where this person told me I should write a book, I eventually did take her advice. And I wrote a book called The Attitude Check, Lessons in Leadership. And to help you change your river, one stick at a time, I have a coaching workbook which breaks the entire book down to 13 weeks, where you focus on one chapter for each week. And I also have a coffee mug and a t-shirt. And on the coffee mug, it's got the cover of the book, and on the back it says, check your attitude early, check your attitude often, check your attitude at the door. Now this package with the hardback book, the workbook, the coffee mug, and the t-shirt, we're going to auction this off right now, and the money raised from this package will go to District 25, because your district rocks. All right? So we're going to do a very quick live auction. The value of this is $125. We're going to start the bidding at $50. Do I have $50? 50. We got 50. Do we have $60? 60. We got 60. Do we have $70? We got $70. $75. Do we have $85? $85. Do we have $95? We got 85 looking for 95. Do we have $95? You're not going to hurt my feelings if you keep bidding up, but you're going to, that's fine with me. $95. Do we have $100? We got 95. We have $100. $100. Do we have $110? We got $100. We're looking for $110. $100 going once. 110 in the back. Looking for 120. Do we have $120? We got 110. 110 going once. 120. All right. We got 125. Do we have $135? $135. 135. All right. Fantastic. Do we have $150? 150. Fantastic. We got 150. Do we have $160? We got $160. All right, here's what we're going to do. In the interest of time, I'm going to back it down to $150. You're both going to get it for $150. That's $300 that's going to go to the district. And I'm going to throw in an hour of coaching for each of you. Now, I want to share a story about how your attitudes can affect change in ways you didn't imagine. When I was a division governor, actually when I was an area governor, I had another guy that was an area governor with me. His name was Ralph. Ralph and I didn't see eye to eye much. We clashed a lot. Then I became division governor, and he remained an area governor as one of my area governors, and we clashed even more. There was a lot of things that I thought Ralph needed to do differently, and I was not quiet or shy about telling him that. As time went on, and as I learned these lessons about how easy it is for people to walk away from a bad leader in a volunteer organization, and as I learned to temper my own attitudes and temper my own means and methods, the time came when I was a district governor and I needed a district treasurer. And there was nobody better for the job than Ralph. Now, Ralph and I had not seen eye to eye in previous years, but I called him up and I said, Ralph, I need a district treasurer, and I'll be honest with you, I can think of no one better for this job than you. Would you be willing to be my district treasurer? And I will never forget what he said to me. He said, you know, you and I did not get along when we were area governors and division governor, area governor. I said, yeah, I know that. He said, but I've watched you grow, and I've watched you develop, and I've watched you change over the past couple of years. And I like the leader you've turned out to be. And I would be honored to be your treasurer. Now, that wasn't Ralph that made the changes. It was me. Because you can't control what other people do. All you can do is check your own attitude. Check your attitude early, check your attitude often, check your attitude at the door.
so much for being with us this weekend, especially for tonight. I think we all have gotten some tips on how we need to check our attitudes. We have a small token of appreciation for you. In that, I'd like to give you one of our district focus pins, which says, "Actually, it takes a team." I'd like to
Thank you.
give you that, and we also have a small, something else to add to your thought process.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you again, Heath.